When Mitch called me and talked to me about being the head coach here at Kentucky, I understand the assignment. We are here to win banners.
Back outside. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh! Aaron Harrison beyond belief.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. January 14th, 2026. Wednesday edition of Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Game Day edition. Cats take on LSU tonight in Baton Rouge. 7 o'clock start. ESPN2, I believe, but I'll double check that for you. And I will be doing a post-game show after that game right over on ESPN 680 right at 9 o'clock as soon as the game comes to an end. TJ Walker, producer Matt Childress, Stephen Peak here on your Wednesday. How's everybody doing?
Good. Steven, are you
yes.
Okay, I was making sure your mic was working. I was
Also doing well.
I was making sure you didn't have to hit it. I'm good. It's been a pretty good morning so far. It's kind of the opposite of what yesterday was. I woke up, it kind of felt okay outside this morning, and it seemed like it's just going to get colder and windier, which I'm a little upset about. I'm supposed to go out and do some stuff tonight, so that might not end up happening. Supposed to go ice skating with the girlfriend and her younger brother, so hopefully I get to do that. But it's been a good day. How about you guys?
Outdoor ice skating or indoor ice skating?
Outdoor.
Outdoor. Where is that?
Oh,
where's
cool.
that? They still have an outdoor ice skating ring post-Christmas time?
Yeah, there's an area downtown. I forgot what it's called. They planned the whole thing, and I'm just kind of there along for the ride.
I think it will be probably cold enough for you, but if it's raining, yeah, that's not going to be the most fun thing. I did see that Monday is a high of 22. You never want the high to be a 22. Low single digits, like 8 or 7 or something like that. So, yes, we're about to get blasted with some cold. I know it's going to get cold before Monday, but I think Monday's the peak coldness. So we have that to look forward to, if nothing else. A basketball game tonight, which I sort of feel like the season is a bit on the line. Not that if Kentucky doesn't win, that the season's just over. But if you can't win at LSU, then where are you winning on the road? If you can't win at LSU, you can't beat a team with maybe 2 of their better players not playing, then what confidence do you have in playing against a legit top 25 team? And there are plenty in the SEC. So it is a big one for the Cats tonight. And Baton Rouge has been a tough place for UK for some stupid reason. Not that LSU's been any good lately, but we'll talk about it.
The last time they were there ended on a buzzer beater. Thought that Rob Dillingham was going to have the game-winning shot, and then they got that tip in at the buzzer. I think if Kentucky would have won that game, they would have ended the season on like an 8 or 9 game winning streak going into the SEC tournament. And maybe it would have jumped them a seed line. Maybe they could have avoided Jack Golke in the first round. Yeah, for some reason playing there has given some of the more memorable games. As a Kentucky fan, you had the game. It was 86-42 at halftime. Kentucky was leading. Went on to win that game. I don't even know what the final score was, but it's one of the more impressive first half performances. I think that was the '96 championship team, wasn't it?
I think that's right.
Okay,
yeah.
And then they also had the 31-point Mardi Gras Miracle back in. Was that '93?
That was, I believe, 93.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, lots of
94.
94, okay. I just remember the video, Travis Ford at the free throw line, when he hits the free throw, I think that puts him up by 4, and it's basically over, and he's like jumping up and down at the free throw line.
Yeah, from going back to 93, so a couple UK LSU games. 1993, Kentucky wins 105-67. They're not the next game. They beat them in the SEC championship in Lexington later that season. But then the next time they played in the regular season, Kentucky won 99-95 in the Mardi Gras Miracle. They played the next game they played. It was at Rupp Arena, but it was later, or it was the following season. Kentucky won 129-97. The next time they played, also at Kentucky during the 97 season, 84-48. Some high-scoring Cats games. They scored 105, 99, 127, 129, 84, which is not as much, but when you win 84-48. Wild times in the 90s.
Man, look how many close games that Kentucky plays at LSU or the games that they've lost. I mean, just going all the way back here to didn't they have the 2015 game was that the game where Calipari was kind of was sarcastically cheering for LSU after Karl Anthony Towns got the technical foul.
Good memory.
Yeah, it's 71-69 in that game. So since 2015, the next time they went to Baton Rouge was 2016, and they lost by 18 points. The next time they go to Baton Rouge is 2018. And they win that game 74-71. I mean, every game, 79-76, Kentucky wins in 2020. They lose in 2022. Just every game for the last decade in Baton Rouge, either Kentucky's lost or it's come down to one possession. So should I expect anything different tonight?
Nope. I think it's going to be a close game. Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. Doing my LSU research going into this one, they are not good. They're just not good. There's no reason for Kentucky to lose this game tonight, especially with LSU's leading scorer being doubtful in the game. I don't believe that they're anticipating Deaton giving it a go, and especially if he doesn't, Kentucky has to win this game. Now, if he plays, and he's the type of player, and I think Kentucky looked around Deaton Thomas a little bit, but he's the type of player where he could have 25 points. It's high-level basketball, even if LSU is not all that great of a team. He's the type of scorer where he just gets off, he goes off, and he gets his teammates involved. He averages over 7 assists per game. He's their leading scorer, and he's their leading assist guy by 5 assists per game. Okay? So he does it all for him. He is doubtful. I think he's missed the last couple games, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get that pulled up here in a second. But they're not anticipating him going. Hasn't played in the year 2026. Last game was against Southern Miss on the 29th. He's doubtful. Jalen Reed, who is their leading, second on the team in rebounds. Fourth on the team in rebounds. 6 rebounds per game is fourth on the team. Good rebounding group of Tigers down there. 10 points, 6 rebounds per game. He's out. There's just no way you can break this down where Kentucky should lose, can afford a loss. UK should be desperate. That's a whole another angle to this story. But LSU, not that great of a team, missing 2 of their better players, certainly, or their best player doubtful.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to win. Doesn't matter if it's a close game. I mean, it probably shouldn't be, but even if it is, just win.
Yes.
But Vegas thinks it's going to be close, and you're right. History suggests that these teams, when they get together, they do play each other very close.
I know that Ken Palm and Bartovic both have LSU pulling this game out. So, but it looks like Kentucky, the 4.5-point favorites going into the game. And, first game knowing that Jalen Lowe will be out for the season. You don't have JQ. But yes, I agree. Kentucky's got to win this game. We talked about it yesterday. The goal for Kentucky in the SEC this year is probably, as we've shifted the goals, just to get into the top 4 and get the double bye in the SEC tournament. You make that really difficult for yourself if you lose tonight. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it gets real tough. If you can't beat Missouri at home and LSU on the road, it's not like it gets much easier from this point on.
No, it doesn't. Tennessee on Saturday is going to be a tougher game for Kentucky,
mm-hmm.
and you hope I hope they're not looking ahead. This team can't afford to look ahead. Everything has been a struggle for this Kentucky team throughout this season, and Saturday was a nice moment. That second half was great. A blowout win against Mississippi State, and I think the thing that is kind of weird about that game on Saturday is it really wasn't a blowout until it was. It wasn't a blowout till the final 4 or 5 minutes, and then Kentucky put it away, and they put it away in a big way. But they were down in that first half, obviously. It was quite the turnaround, though, once they did turn it on. You're going to need something like that again tonight. Otega Owe has been playing much better as of late. He's looked like the preseason SEC Player of the Year. You'd expect another good game out of him. But no Jalen Lowe, no Jaden Quaintance. He was ruled out on the injury report. That knee still swelling, I suppose. And now you're kind of back to where you were during some of those December games, which weren't always all that great for Kentucky. But you look good without those guys against Mississippi State.
Yeah, at least once I think the lead obviously ballooned, or the deficit ballooned to 18-6, and then from that point on, Kentucky obviously played pretty well. But can we, TJ? Can Can we get a 10-point first half lead?
No,
But we can't. Okay. So that's non-negotiable.
no, off the table.
We have not had a first half double-digit lead against a high major team this season.
That's true. That's a fact.
And we have not had a halftime. No, we did. We got our first halftime lead against Mississippi State.
Up 5 at the half there.
Yes, that's the first one we've had this season. But it took overcoming a 12-point deficit that I forget what point of the game it got to 12, but I think it was 28-17 at under 12 minutes to play, I believe.
Okay.
It would be nice. Can we have just a good start? Maybe even a good finish? We could just put them both together and win this game by 30?
I will say that the team has probably, as frustrating as it is and as annoying as it is, and hello to the YouTube stream. This is Kentucky Roll Call, streaming on YouTube, podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Kentucky Roll Call. Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. Send your text into the show, and we'll do our best to read it on the air. As annoying as it is, Stephen Peak, this team has earned a little bit, like this is maybe the only area they've earned anything at all, a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, where if they're down 10 in the first half, you don't necessarily have to panic. Now, there's been plenty of times that they've been down by double digits in the first half, and then they promptly just got blown out and made no sort of comeback. Gonzaga, obviously, Michigan State, they really didn't threaten in that game. But we've seen time and time again this team have a bad stretch early on in a game and that not bury them. And if you're looking for something optimistic and positive, that's a good thing. Sometimes if you give up a 10-0 run or a 12-0 run, especially when you're having a bad season, you can just put your hands up and be like, it's not our day. This team tried to make a run against Alabama, Peak. They were not able to really get over the hump. And I think, Jaden wasn't great in that Alabama game. And I think part of the reason why they weren't able to get over the hump is maybe they were just hoping that it was going to click and catch on for Jaden, and it didn't in that game. So this team can come back from a bad stretch. But I'm with you. I would love just not to have a 10-minute stretch to start a game or a 7-minute stretch somewhere in between like the first TV timeout and the third TV timeout where they just don't score for 4 minutes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I'd love to avoid that stuff.
So they got down by 10 to St. John's. I think was that the highest the deficit got in that one in the first half. They got down by 9 to Indiana, and trying to think of then 12 to Mississippi State, and came back and won all 3 of those. But then you go to the Michigan State game, the Gonzaga game, and even the Louisville game. Even though they came back and maybe even had somewhat of a shot there at the end, maybe if Lowe makes both of those free throws, cuts it to 2, they could have maybe battled back in that one and gotten the win. But you just got to avoid doing that. It's happening too much.
Really makes it really tough on yourself, and especially when you've got some question marks offensively to put yourself in a hole, and then your margin for error at that point is razor thin in terms of coming back. Speaking of getting down in a hole, producer Matt, you were frustrated last night.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah, I was extremely frustrated. Remember the other day, TJ, when I told you that I really just missed being angry about sporting events?
Yes.
Yeah, last night I found it.
You got it.
It was discovered.
You got a little hit of it. Well, that's good.
This was the first one in the PK era that I could not hold back from just how angry I was of what I was watching.
Well, talk about it. What you get down 14-0, that's inexcusable. A team at home in a big game should never come out that way. I get the frustration there. Louisville in the second half had its chances, just couldn't. UVL would go on a little scoring run, but couldn't get any stops defensively. Louisville would get a couple stops defensively, unable to score on the other end. You just didn't seem like you could put 2 good possessions together in that second half when trying to come back. But 79-70, Virginia just completely owns U of L since the Cards have joined the ACC.
12-2 at the Yum Center.
12-2?
12-2 at the Yum Center.
Have they played every year at the Yum Center?
Wow, that is incredible.
Since U of L's been in the ACC, that's just a ton of games.
I mean, I don't know that off the top of my head, but possibly.
I mean,
I guess they would have to.
Be. Yeah, it almost would have to be at that
that one with Padgett as the coach is still one of the most incredible comebacks / meltdowns I've ever seen.
Yeah, Louisville had a really epic Duke collapse during that time frame, and then obviously the Virginia game. You're right. What was it? Virginia came back from
Well, even Louisville was at the free throw line with like no time left on the. Basically, I don't know exactly like the play by play, but there was. He ran the base. Who was it that ran the baseline? It was like 0.8 seconds left. All they had to do was inbound the ball, and it was after. I think maybe Virginia didn't hit the rim on a free throw. They were trying to get the rebound, and so it was just a dead ball. All Louisville had to do was just inbound it, have somebody touch it. The game would have been over. And he runs the baseline, so it's a turnover. Virginia gets the ball back down 2. They inbound it. Maybe the guy banks in a 3 or something at the buzzer. Producer Matt, do you remember that game?
U of L was up.
He banked in a 3 at the buzzer.
Yeah, there you go.
U of L was up by 4 with 5 seconds left.
Wow.
Which is hard to lose that game.
And they also fouled on a 3, I think, right before that or something.
Well, not to bring up bad memories. Last night was probably bad enough for you.
I could sit here and go on for 4 hours of things that I just didn't like about last night's game. The one major thing, and TJ, you already kind of pointed to it in the sense that this team, like at least last night, I actually saw a defensive identity for some parts of this game. I saw some improvement. I feel like Isaac McNeely guarded on ball pretty decently well. Our switches weren't really being communicated very well there for a little while, but we would hold Virginia to 2 or 3 stops in a row, 2 or 3 great defensive possessions. But we would get out in transition, stop in the paint, dribble back out for 3. Or we would take a contested 3-pointer. Or we would immediately kill all our momentum and swing it out to somebody in the corner who was already covered and try and swing the ball around and get some offense going in quotation marks. And then on the defensive end, you would do that 2 or 3 times in a row, get no points out of it, and then give up an open 3 late in the shot clock because one dude is just sagging off in the corner, being lazy on defense, and giving their best shooter who made like 7 threes last night, just open shot after open shot after open shot. So it was like you kept getting the fans into the game because you were getting these stops and then riling everybody up, not scoring on it, not capitalizing on anything in a high-pressure situation, and then just giving up the easiest bucket of the night after 3 great defensive possessions. So it's almost like you do all this work just to give up points for free anyway, and now you're -3. You hold a dude to 0 points for 4 straight possessions, and you're still -3. It just makes no sense. I don't get it.
It makes it really tough to win. Virginia shoots 41% from 3-point range. That is going to do it. They shoot 11 more free throws than U of L. Partially that is when you have the lead. They just dominated inside. They out-rebounded U of L by 8, and then had 9 block shots, which goes a long way, including a third of Virginia's block shots. You know who they came from, Stephen Peak? One you got on, Enzo.
Yeah, I almost forgot until I was watching the game last night. Well, I did forget until I was watching the game last night that Ugonna Onyenso is a Virginia Cavalier now.
He is. He played 14 minutes, 3 points, same old Ugonna offense, but 3 rebounds and 3 block shots. He can block some shots. He certainly can. But yes, U of L, no. What's the latest there with Malik? He had a heating pad on the sideline. That seemed a bit performative to me.
Oh, you mean Michael?
Michael, excuse me. Yeah,
I mean, he's had that for the past like 4 or 5 games. He'll usually stand during the games, cheer on his team, and then he'll have a heating pad on. Like, he puts it on here and there, like I've seen it the past couple games.
That's hilarious to me. They're like, hey, we've got the heating pad on during a 24-hour regimen so much that this 2-hour stretch during a game, we've got to have the heating pad on. And it just so happens that 17,000 people are there to see me have a heating pad on. Just so everybody knows that my back really is hurt. Look, I'm at the game and I even have my heating pad with me.
The thing with this one is that he's already said that he's going to be back. So I think it would be very strange if he were to opt out with this injury after going on Twitter and saying that this was the same tweet, right, where he said I didn't get hurt in the weight room.
This was the one responding to Jeff Goodman saying that all of that was he didn't say made up or anything. He just said that he was false and that it wasn't in the weight room. It was before Memphis when he got hurt. And then he said and then he finishes it with I will be back, don't worry.
Yes.
I still think he will be back for what it's worth.
He will be. It just is it going to be too late?
No, I mean it's the ACC.
What do you mean by
it's the ACC? It's not going to be too late. But one issue is you only have so many chances, especially only so many chances at home. The next best U of L home game, Syracuse.
Okay, they can win that game.
Notre Dame, NC State, right there at the bubble. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, so like that was a big opportunity last night, and you didn't have it.
you're basically at the point where now, if you can get Michael Brown somehow back fast enough, I mean, I hate using the term must win because I don't think any game this early is must win. But if you want to get the fans engaged for the rest of the season, you really got to go to Cameron Indoor and put on a show.
It'd be great. Like, that would give U of L fans some hope where if he played in that game, even if you lost a close game and the freshmen were just going at it, you'd say, like, all right. The season has not gone the way we wanted to, but that looked better, and now we've got another month and then March, and let's hit the ground running. I hear you on that. Or you'd have to you play at UNC late February. That's another great opportunity, but that's not for a long time. You get a good Baylor team on Valentine's Day. That's a neutral site game that you get a chance in that one. But same thing as Louisville last year. You could end up being like a bona fide tournament team. I think U of L's record is just going to be good enough where it's like, all right, they're getting the tournament. But when you break down the resume, it could end up being another 8, 9, 10 seed. Right around where potentially Kentucky could be when it's all said and done.
Ooh, how about an 8, 9?
Crazy to think where what about a 6, 7? It's just crazy to think where these seasons have gone. And aside from the loss, which I know is frustrating, producer Matt, and just the season, we can relate to a certain degree, I promise you. The Mikel Brown stuff, obviously Kentucky's had their fair share of injury issues this year. I thought the London Johnson stuff yesterday was wild. Did you hear Pat Kelsey's quote after the game?
I was in the press conference. It was not.
Oh, you were there?
I was there.
What'd they serve for the pregame meal?
Tacos.
Oh, little Taco Tuesday at KFC Young Center.
Tuesday.
Was it more, what kind of tacos are we talking about?
It was the most basic of taco you can possibly make.
Did you think that maybe like white people made the tacos?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so those kind of tacos.
White people tacos.
White people tacos are
They're
good.
fine. I make them.
The only thing is,
Yeah.
I would have been more upset with it, but I hadn't eaten all day, and I didn't get to leave the studio till 6 o'clock, so I had to drive over there. So I literally just grabbed a spoonful of one of every tray and just kind of went to town for 10 minutes and then got to my seat. So it was okay. It wasn't the best.
Okay, all right. Well, fun all the same, except for the loss and except for the meal not being all that great, and then everything else that kind of went with the ho-hum evening. But you were there in attendance. You saw that press conference. Pat Kelsey gave a candid answer when asked about London Johnson, who U of L tweeted out his jersey before the Boston College game, Stephen Peake.
I saw that.
Said, hey, this guy who was a part of an NBA trade but never was an NBA player. He's coming back to play college, everybody, and we debated that and we talked about it. Who cares? U of L's not the only place doing it. And quite frankly, with other places doing it, when UK need depth options, maybe I was just a little bit jealous. But he's going to redshirt. Wasn't going to play this year, get within the program, get a good idea of how things run in PK land, and then next year is going to be the London Johnson show, a guy who played like 100 G League games, or however many G League games. Then U of L has their injuries, and they say, you want to play now? We could use you now. You could help us now. And London clearly says yes because U of L plans on him playing. They say that he's going to play. They tweet out his jersey. He goes through warm-ups. And then, was he not on the bench in the second half of the Boston College game? Is that true?
So I wasn't at that game. I think he was on the bench, but at halftime he came out in street clothes.
So he wasn't, okay. He
just undressed. It was like, oh, okay, well, he's definitely not coming in now.
Very interesting.
And then last night at the press conference, Pat Kelsey, it was his opening statement. He said, he's like, I just want to apologize for the London Johnson confusion. He came to me and he basically said, I feel like I can help this team. And then within a week or whatever, 5 days it was, he had a prep. They just put him through the gauntlet, apparently, of trying to learn all the terminology and stuff. And he's like, Coach, I can't do it anymore. There's no way. I can't learn this in time. And Pat Kelsey said that they just kind of decided to mutually say, we'll wait till next season then. And Pat Kelsey was apologizing for the communication of me not explaining that was the issue. It wasn't like I didn't know what was going on or London didn't know what was going on. He was basically apologizing for all of the, like you said, Louisville media posting all the jerseys and stuff and confusing the fans. He's like, I should have just came out at the beginning and said, we are trying to get London back. We're not just ripping his red shirt like I said, which is, 2020 hindsight. But
I sent you the video, and that's a pretty good summary of what you're going to hear. And we won't play the entire thing, but I want to tell you what Pat Kelsey is actually saying, like what the situation actually is. And then you all can hear Pat Kelsey's own words and see if you agree with my assessment of it. They went to London Johnson, U of L did. This is just my assessment of the situation. And said, hey, I know we're planning on redshirting you, but if you want to play, we'll play you. You'll get minutes. We'll get you going right here, right now. And I think London, with those conversations, was like, hell yeah, I want to play. This sounds awesome. Let me go do it. And they said, all right, we'll get you in. Let's go ahead and do it. So they are planning on him playing. They have him going through practices. They have him going through game reps. And then Pat Kelsey, this is basically him saying this. This isn't me just trying to connect the dots here. Pat Kelsey says it, and you'll hear it from him. But he says agents and other people, his circle, came to him and basically said, hey, I know you want to play, London. You're not burning one of your 2 years of eligibility for 2 months of basketball. That is a terrible business decision. You may want to play. They may need you to play. You may love this team. You may like this coach. You're not throwing away 1 year of potential earning just for a month. And a little inside baseball, I don't know how much this is true or not true. This is me. The sports talker's interjecting here. There's some rumblings that the agency came back to Pat Kelsey and said, he'll play, but his 1 year worth nil deal is this. So we need this much money for him to play these 2 months. And you've all said, we're not paying him a full year just for a month of basketball, 2 months of basketball. We're not doing that. We could do something. And they said, no, we're not wasting a year of his eligibility without him getting a full year nil salary. So I don't know if London Johnson just didn't have the cojones just to go out and say that point blank, but the way Pat Kelsey tells it is they started noticing during scout and drills that he just didn't look as into it as he had been. So then they spoke with him, and then they find out that, oh, okay, he actually doesn't want to play now. So all this just comes back to, producer Matt, and you can tell me if you disagree with it. We can play the Pat Kelsey audio. This just comes into agents continuing to control and run college basketball. And the thing is, can we really blame him? If you only had, and he really probably shouldn't have any years of college eligibility. The dude was part of an NBA trade. But he's got 2, according to the NCAA. I can't blame him for saying, next year I could make $500,000 playing college. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. That seems a little high now that I'm saying that out loud. I could make $250,000 next year, but you want me to play right now and, make $20,000, $10,000, maybe no nil at all? Hell no, I'm not doing that. And I can't really say that I blame him, producer Matt.
If that's what's going on, I wouldn't blame him, because you're right. In the press conference, he does talk about, he specifies that his initial instinct is that he wasn't ready. He doesn't know the terminology, doesn't know the sets is the phrase he used, and then he goes on and says, and there's financial stuff going on with every player as well, and this and that, and kind of alludes to something like that. So if that's really what's going on behind the scenes, then it wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't know. This is the first real. I don't want to say big. Big is an extreme. This is the first oopsie by Pat Kelsey in terms of a real press conference issue, in my opinion. I know that he got the whole, I'm not talking about injury stuff. If you didn't like that, it's fine. I didn't really care about it. It's whatever. The dude's frustrated. I get it. This is the one where it's he directly impacted the university. Because, the national media got a hold of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When London Johnson was coming back. And like you said, the Louisville basketball team, the U of L Twitter pages all posted. It looked like we had a top 5 portal prospect come in the middle of the season. He was going to come in and turn the whole program around, and they didn't even dress for the second half.
Yeah, it was a weird situation. Here's how Pat Kelsey told it. We won't play the whole thing, but here's Pat Kelsey talking about a bizarre agent nil era college basketball situation that honestly Kentucky is having to deal with in some capacity.
Had those initial conversations with London. Like I said, I take responsibility, how it was handled when the statement was put out. The fact of the matter is, when we sat down with him initially, we had really good conversations, and I think London thought, hey, this could be a good thing. Coach, I'm amenable to it, and talked to his people, talked to his agent, and it looked like it was moving in the right direction. I think what we all got to remember, too, is that's a lot. It's a lot to ask of that young man. There's a lot of things that go into it. He only has 2 years of eligibility. We're already halfway through the season. He has a whole lot of ground to make up, I think, before he could really go out there and be a productive player for us. And then I think as we were building into it, he was starting to get ready for the Boston College game, and I think it started to be holy crap, I don't know if I can go out and be an effective player, not knowing our system, not knowing our terminology, and kind of had a little bit of a change of heart, and I get it. I get it 100%. There's a lot of implications that kind of like go along with a decision like that, with only having 2 years of eligibility. And, you know, I don't disparage his decision in any way, shape, or form. But going into that game when it was announced, you know, I think he started talking to other people in his family and in his circle and things like that and start having second thoughts. I could just see it. And then in scouting and preparation, you could just tell he was a little bit overwhelmed. And it just, I think it's the right decision for him to just continue to use this year as a redshirt year.
So Pat Kelsey's mixing in a little bit of truth with a little bit of coach speak, and he's trying to do his best to, like, not – yeah, right. Like London Johnson was going through scout and practice, being like, I don't know the terminology. What is that? A dribble? Dribble? What does that mean? I'm not sure what that is. So he's doing like a little coach speak that like he was a little overwhelmed, which I get coming into a situation like this. But the dude's played against grown men, GRAON, as the big dog would say. He's familiar with the sport of basketball. He's played basketball before. But I think it's very clear, like, all right, I wanted to play, but people talk sense into me that this would be a bad financial decision. And in the current setup of college basketball, you just can't blame them. You just can't blame them.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I will fight you back on this about, the only thing is that at least the story that Pat Kelsey gave last night is what's the word I'm thinking of? It follows the same story he gave after the Boston College game, or like after the Duke game when they were discussing London Johnson as to why he didn't play in Boston College and why he was kind of thinking against it. Whereas he said before that London Johnson, before the Boston College game, when he got rid of his red shirt in quotation, wasn't running any first team reps. He was only running scout team, so all he was learning was the other team's sets, and he was playing against the first team. So he was purposely, he didn't know what the first team was running for the sole purpose of just practice, and that they call plays differently. So I'm not saying that's 100% what's going on. I'm not saying that it's the most credible thing I've ever heard, but like the story follows what Pat Kelsey has said before. You know what I mean?
Sure. I think he's telling you though, like, hey, his circle said nope, no, we're not doing that.
And I can agree with that.
And I agree. I understand that too. And I don't doubt that there's a learning curve in joining the team in the middle of the year. But if they were cool with burning the red shirt and going against the plan, and they were to the point that they were tweeting it out, I don't think all of a sudden they were like, oh, wait a minute, he actually just isn't ready to compete at this level. Just my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's just frustrating for U of L fans, similar how the Shaden Sharp situation was frustrating for UK fans. And that one probably is more similar to like the Mikkel Brown situation than it is the London Johnson situation, because I don't really know any U of L fans that thought, like, if Johnson he's a part of this team, he's going to be a huge impact player.
No, I mean, he wouldn't, even if he did start playing right now, none of this happened, he wouldn't fix any of the issues we're having right now. He's not the greatest defensive player. He's not like the greatest ball handler. He's not like a facilitator. I mean, he's got size and he can finish, but he'd just be a depth piece.
Yeah, I agree. And when things aren't going well, sometimes you're just like, anything will help. Maybe he's the secret sauce. But in reality, you're exactly right. If Kentucky were to bring in somebody, and they're not going to, it's too late now, but if Kentucky had brought in somebody middle of the year, it would have been fun, and it could have helped, especially a point guard maybe that could dribble, but it probably wasn't going to change the big picture of what we're looking at with this team and with this season. Cats versus LSU tonight. We're going to read some text on the Game Day Men's Health text line. A wild night of college basketball, especially in the SEC. We'll recap that a little bit. And then Jacob Polachek joining us here in hour number 2 of Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this. 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. TJ Walker, producer Matt Childress. Stephen Peak left with about 2 minutes before we went to a break in that first segment, 3 minutes, and he's still gone. So I think he's on the phone.
I can hear him.
Not sure. Maybe it's a really important inside info phone call, and we'll get the skinny on it once he comes back. But right now, it is producer Matt and TJ Walker. Stephen Peak will be back whenever. I don't know. Soon, maybe. And then Jacob Polacek, I believe, is coming in at 1 o'clock, and we'll update the latest on Kentucky football and the transfer portal. There's some news there that I will touch on here in just a moment. Then get their takes on Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quaintance. Do we see Jaden Quaintance in a Kentucky jersey at all this season, or is he done for the year? They may have some insight there. And then with Jalen Lowe, Jack Pilgrim, he spoke with Jalen Lowe's father, Marlon, and talked about his future at Kentucky. Said that even when Jalen was playing, he was in a great deal of pain. I believe it. Said that there's really nothing they could do for it besides like give him the occasional Tylenol or Advil or something like that. He was proud of his son, which that's good. That's good. That's good if you're a dad to be proud of your son. I would be too if I had a kid playing at Kentucky and doing all the things that Jalen has done. Obviously, a very successful basketball career. And then they talked about what's next, and it was weird. Not just reading the transcript and not hearing the audio. At times, it almost seemed like the tone of the conversation was reflective. My time at Kentucky, my son's time at Kentucky. And then at other times, it was almost like they had to snap back in and be like, but he's still on the team, and he still could come back, and he wants to give UK fans the full experience of him being healthy. And I don't know, maybe it was just my intent on the way that I was reading the article. But at times I felt a little awkward reading it about like, yeah, he wanted to do his best. He could come back too, though, but a lot of schools also do want him. It almost felt like they had to like do a little bit of a nil dance while also saying that you are interested in coming back.
Can I be honest about something really fast?
What's that?
This whole thing, I know it's gone on for a while. It's not something that's brand new, but I try to put myself in the shoes of the player. In sense that, like, we interview all these players' parents and stuff when they're grown adults. Like, Jalen Lowe is not 17 years old.
No, he's not. And he's been in college for many years.
Could you imagine being, like, 22, and instead of going to you directly, all the media is just like, hey, I'm going to interview your father real quick and ask him questions about you. Like, I'm just thinking of, like, having my dad be interviewed for me. I'd be like, Dad, please don't say anything.
To Jalen's defense, where your bigger issue would be, though, is you would tell your dad, hey, Dad, let's not talk to media right now. Let's just keep everything in-house. Because Jalen, UK would, what's UK going to do? UK would get very upset if Jalen went outside of UK and did an interview with Jack Pilgrim. He would get in trouble with the university. Like, to what capacity? He's out for the year, right? He may never play a game again. Who really cares? But he would get a talking to from people within the athletic department.
Is that how that works?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So if Jack went to Jalen directly and said, hey, can I interview you? And Jalen said yes. Jack would get in big trouble with UK, maybe have credentials revoked, and then Jalen would get in trouble. And Jack's obviously would be bigger trouble because, his livelihood depends on having access. But the player can't talk directly to the media. It's so dumb. I agree with you. To the point where it's like, yeah, well, let's talk to an agent. Let's talk to a coach. Let's talk to a parent. Let's just talk to somebody because we're not allowed to talk to them because you all keep them so close to the vest. Now, you can talk to them before games, but we're going to make sure we're going to stand over your shoulder when you're talking to them. And you can talk to them after the game, but we're going to make sure that it's only a couple of them, and you only can talk for about 5 or 10 minutes. No, there's no open locker rooms where Jack could have gotten the scoop from Jalen himself. He had to go to his dad. Now, to your point, Jalen could be like, hey, Dad, I'll release a statement when it's ready, but you don't need to be doing interviews if they had an issue with it. But in reality, the family probably wants the Kentucky fans to know, like, hey, we would come back for what it's worth. We're going to have to get nil money, obviously, but we would come back. And so I think they probably wanted it out there, producer Matt.
That makes sense.
That's my guess. Yeah, the media stuff, it always gets a little frustrating and can be a bit annoying.
Sure can, TJ.
Well, what's up?
Well, I just found out that, and I'm not going to make a bigger deal about this. I'm not going to put it on social media, so nobody needs to do anything, especially on my behalf, because who really cares? But I just found out that I'm not getting credentialed for the Tennessee game, and I just talked to my boss, Tyler Thompson, about it. And, again, this is just between Kentucky Roll Call people. We're not going to make this a bigger deal anywhere else.
Nobody else knows about this.
Yeah,
No,
just friends.
Just the friends who are listening to the show today. I'll share it here, and please don't put this anywhere else because the backlash probably won't be good. But they are not credentialing me because I said we when talking about Kentucky, and I didn't say things about Rick Barnes.
Well, that's terrible.
That was the reasoning?
That's their reasoning.
Could you imagine
No,
saying something negative about a rival?
No, and here's the thing. I didn't say it on a podcast or on a rapid reaction. I said it.
Did you just try to put those headphones on?
He's trying to put headphones on top of headphones.
It was just I couldn't see TJ. I'm trying to see his face while I say this. They're not. So it wasn't on a podcast or on a rapid reaction. It was in a private conversation with KSR people and maybe other Kentucky media or fans, and they happened to be sitting next to me, and they got upset about it.
What?
And now they're not. They won't. They said we don't feel comfortable with him in the building because of the way that he uses we when talking about Kentucky, and that he had negative things to say about Rick Barnes, and that Rick Barnes has said all of these positive things about Mark Pope and Kentucky, so I don't know where the animosity comes from. And it's like, well, they're the rival. We're a fan site. I do say we when talking about Kentucky. I try not to, TJ. I corrected myself yesterday. I don't play for the team. I never have. I'm going to go ahead and say comfortably, never will. And but that is why I will have to buy a ticket to be in Food City Center. But man, if I couldn't hate Tennessee anymore,
Well, now you're definitely not credentialed. Ever again. You're done.
I mean, they've been approving Nick Roush's credentials for how many years? And then all of a sudden, I don't understand the logic behind.
But Nick Roush never, beat up Auburn students. So.
That's a good point. Rick Naush, he's never been mean to Rick Barnes. That's, I guess,
there's a free burner account for Vince Bell right there.
What have you said about Rick Barnes?
I probably, he's a nice guy. I probably just said he hasn't gone to a Final Four yet. So what
actually true? He's never been to a Final Four.
What I said the whole week was
at Tennessee.
We don't have to worry about or whatever. Like even if Tennessee wins this game, we know that Houston will beat them because Tennessee's not allowed to go to Final Fours. So maybe I probably said something along those lines. Or as Rick Barnes, and they're not going to be able to do with Rick Barnes. He clearly can't get to a Final Four.
Again, Rick Barnes has been to a Final Four.
Well, not with Tennessee.
For the record, you're right, because Tennessee as a program has never, ever in the history of the world.
I don't know what else I could have said about him because here's what I genuinely feel like. He's a good guy.
I would love to follow up with Tennessee and be like, hey.
Tyler did. Tyler fought back with them because they called her, and so she's been on the phone with them this morning. That's what I was doing when I first came in, was trying to figure out, why are they not, what's going on? They said there was something about my behavior during the Sweet 16, and I was like, all right, what's going on? Because I'll tell you what I did in that Sweet 16 game. I went up to the 600s by myself and watched the first half. In the second half, I walked around outside, so I was like, what could this be? And it turns out it was a private conversation that they overheard, and it hurt their little Tennessee feelings. They couldn't handle it, and so now they don't feel comfortable with me in the building. By the way, when I was in their building, I get flipped off and everything by the Tennessee fans for just wearing, having a – that's the thing, too. They credentialed me. I had a Kentucky hat on. This is unprofessional of working media. I've worked in your media before. You have Tennessee fans covering Tennessee who say we on the radio all the time.
You should overhearing a private conversation. So I'd be like, hey, what SID heard you say, and what did you hear me specifically say? And do you have this in writing anywhere? Did you make this decision back in March, or was it just when you saw my name 10 months later that you remembered magically this magic conversation that you have no evidence of, just somebody's personal opinion
and this is what he said, too, apparently told Tyler. And he hasn't reached out about an apology or anything. I was like, I didn't even know anyone was upset. How am I supposed to reach out to
You were supposed to apologize to somebody?
Yes.
What did you say?
Probably. I mean, nothing that's that crazy. We are in the media room. I'm talking with. I'm probably talking to Kentucky fans. Probably like, talking some crap about Tennessee, but nothing that's like over the line. Like I know there's other people in the building or in that area at the at Lucas Oil.
What you should do is to get back at them. You should use your identification for when you work there and try to apply for Tennessee credentials.
Yeah,
I'm coming back, baby.
Just act like you write for VolSportsRadio.com.
Yeah.
I thought Vol for life.
Vol for life.
VFL, you were an employee.
Yeah.
You gave your blood, sweat, and tears.
You're a legacy.
Yeah. Give them all for Tennessee.
That is so idiotic.
God, that is.
I really don't know
the
what
lamest
reasoning is worse. Is that they I mean, that one is weird. It almost makes me think that there's like more to that story. We actually overheard a conversation, and we don't feel comfortable with the contents of what we heard in that conversation.
Yeah, and that's literally what they told Tyler. I mean, I got the message
idiotic.
here too.
There's another word I won't use on radio, but that is idiotic. And then critical of Rick Barnes somehow may even be dumber. That may be dumber than overhearing a mystery fake conversation.
They're critical of Rick Barnes on Field of 68 on ESPN.
Critical of Rick Barnes? What? How? He's been nice to Mark Pope. What could possibly Stephen Peak from Louisville, Kentucky, write or say about Rick Barnes that would get you banned from a credential? That is wow.
It's wild. So,
I mean,
so if you
really
criticize Rick Barnes if you criticize Rick Barnes too much as a let's say a Tennessee beat reporter, do you just lose your credential then?
I guess there's obviously a line that you can't cross, and I would have a hard time believing that a critical Tennessee media member that maybe covers the program all the time hasn't said worse things about Rick Barnes than Stephen frickin' Peak.
Yeah, that blows my mind, especially in a private conversation that they overheard. I wasn't even talking to them. I went back and watched the travel video that I made from that time to see, okay, where was I during some of this? And there's one shot where I can see there's a guy decked out in Tennessee gear. So I'm like, okay, maybe those people that were over there were SIDs. Maybe the guy who's denying me was one of those people. But again, I'm not talking to them.
Yeah.
I'm talking to other Kentucky fan media.
I mean, if you were like going on a cursing tirade of just like, F them. We the big blue hate them. Bleep them, bleep them, bleep them. Maybe they'd be like, all right, that guy, he seems a little unstable. But I have a hard time believing you were doing that.
No, I'm not cursing in the media room.
I wouldn't think that you would.
F-bombs.
Otherwise, I just don't know what they thought they could hear to be like, oh, he said what?
They're like, no, they said the thing that offended them the most. The main reason is that I used "we" so much when discussing Kentucky. You
were like, we think Rick Barnes smells like stinky poopy farts. They're like, that's it. I'm done. I can't handle this man anymore.
They were sitting next to Steven before the Sweet 16 game and didn't like how he ranted about Tennessee and Rick Barnes and used the word "we" when discussing UK.
Wait, that Sweet 16 game?
That's not good enough reason.
Yeah, it wasn't even at.
This had been brewing that long?
Yeah, for 10 months.
They didn't think to reach out to KSR and be like, hey, whatever this guy did was unacceptable. We don't want to see him again.
I would have appreciated that.
Because then, like you said, you could at least be like, hey, I mean.
You covered the Tennessee football game in Lexington this year, right?
I did, but I mean, that's Kentucky.
It's Kentucky, but were they threatened by you? Or did they did they eavesdrop any other combos during the football game?
The interesting thing is I hated on Kentucky's staff that entire game. And then when I was at their place a couple years, or I guess last year, 2024 season, I praised their dark mode and made a cool video about like, isn't this awesome? We should try to replicate this.
They deserve to get scrutinized. For
he walked past all the Tennessee media members. They had like their hand on their belt, like shaking. They were like, "Oh my God, is that Stephen Peak? Is that the guy?"
Yes, we just don't feel comfortable with him in the building. Like, come on.
That is horrible reasoning rationale, and you all really should make a stink about that because
I think we're going to try to take the high road. I said this is the only place I'm going to talk about it because they are credentialing two of us, and I don't want to have that taken away.
Well, dare them to.
Yeah.
Make a big stink about it and then dare them to. That is so you can only cover Tennessee if you say the things that the Tennessee SIDs like you to say.
I guess.
Okay,
so.
Well, not in my country, not in my America, and they deserve to get made fun of and scrutinized for that. If that's their reasoning, which I believe you, I don't think you just make that up. That is horrible. That is just terrible. And I'd say the same if Kentucky denied credentials from somebody from Tennessee that sorry, you can't come cover Mark Pope. We don't like that you didn't say all the nice words.
I mean, think about how much KSR, Jack, and myself have been critical of Mark Pope this year, and how critical we were of John Calipari.
Sure.
And Kentucky, to their credit, never once even threatened to take away a credential.
Yeah, embarrassing.
And we say we
stuff.
when we talk about Kentucky there, and that is. And the thing is, why not talk to me when if you are sitting right next to me and you don't like what you're hearing? How about saying, like, if you believe in this, like, this is a professional media workroom. Also, let's stop with that. Can we stop doing this is sports media. Can we stop acting like we're discussing policy, like, from the government? It's not that big of a deal.
I still will never understand why some of these media rooms are huge and they have plenty of space. Why not just separate the media teams?
Well,
that one was huge.
This is all just so silly. Like,
I meant, like, so you don't have to worry about the whole, like, we thing. Like, just have the people here.
Offended
by,
by,
people
like,
there. You don't have to.
Our one's done. I'm with you. Who's getting offended by it? There should be a professional environment for people working. They're working. Like, this is, you wouldn't run into somebody's office and just start cheering and hooting and hollering. That being said, let's not act like these journalists have to have complete silence when they work. People can have conversations.
It wasn't during the game either. It was 45 minutes before the game.
It's all just so wild. This is nutty. Jacob Polchek coming in next. I wonder what his opinion on this is, and we'll talk Cats, Jalen Lowe, Jaden Quain's football portal.
Once I had a girl.
Protection for your home, auto, and business. We've built trust for thousands of satisfied customers. As a family-owned, independent car and business insurance. Callistus
Candle makers on the square. The suite includes a king bed, queen bed, a complete kitchen,
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. If you haven't had lunch today, Salsaritas and their 3 locations would be the perfect option. Middletown, St. Matthews, and I-65 in Shepherdsville. Download that Salsaritas app, and then remember, you can do the catering all at the touch of your fingertips. So you can get office for your you can get food in the office for your coworkers. They'll be happy. Salsaritas wildly addictive chips. They had specials, and it's not wanting to pull up for me right now. But I'll get back to you on what Salsaritas has going on in the month of January. But it's pretty cool stuff at Salsaritas. Download that app today, and I'll get back to you with what they've got going on, special deals and things of that sort. Stephen Peak, producer Matt Childress, TJ Walker here, part of KRC on your Wednesday. Cats play tonight in just 6 hours. And joining us for this segment is Jacob Polachuk from Kentucky Sports Radio.
Hi.
On 3. Jacob, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh, never been better, never been worse. How are you guys?
So right in the middle. I love it. We're doing great. I think Peak has done better. When you say never been better, never been worse, I think Peak has been better.
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm just a little shocked about some of that stuff from the first hour and about, I don't know. I'm not going to make a bigger deal about this. I hear what you're saying, TJ. This would be a classic KSR.
Oh yeah,
story.
back in the good old days of KSR. It would be
Jacob, you make a big deal about it. You know
a
about
blog post.
Can you do
like
something?
Tennessee.
This is a travesty.
It's a travesty. This is
I've been covering sports media for 45 years, and this is the worst thing that I've ever seen in sports media.
45 years, and you're not even 30 yet.
63 years since I started doing this job, and I've never seen anything worse.
I get the concern that, like, if we make a big stink about this, do they revoke other credentials? Dare them to. Dare them to. Oh, no, a negative story. You can't come into our building and cover the Tennessee volunteer basketball program because you're too negative.
Should we just be over the top positive about Tennessee? Like, even if Kentucky wins, like, Rick Barnes, the greatest coach of all time, loses.
He's certainly going to a Final Four this year. For
yeah,
the Vols.
absolutely.
I like Jacob's idea. Just deck out in Tennessee gear, checkerboard, the whole.
I'll wear my old
dress up
inside
as the
Tennessee
little
stuff.
smoky man or the Rocky Top guy, the little Rocky Top fella that wears the stupid hat. Go ahead and do that. By the way, Salsaritas, meal deal for 2. $24.99. 2 bowls, 1 side of chips, salsa, queso, $24.99. 2 people eat, 2 people happy, tons of food, leftovers almost certainly. That's what Salsaritas got going on. Meal deal for 2. Okay, sorry about that.
Can we get lunch?
Yeah, do you want to get lunch after this? Salsaritas.
Right now. You all are 2.
Okay.
TJ, you got the rest of this? We're going to get lunch.
Yeah, well, bring some back for me. That would be nice. We got lunch for Corey Price last week. Jacob, we got to get you lunch one of these days.
Oh, Corey. I love Corey. Hey, Corey.
I'm hearing that you're going to be you're back on weekly Wednesdays. Wednesday weeklies.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that so? Or
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll do that.
No, he doesn't look like he wants to commit to it in the slightest. That's okay. Well,
It is Wednesday, and I'm here.
He sounds like he's heard you two say something in a private conversation he's not very happy about.
I'm on day to day with everything.
You're on the Hardly Gilmore commitment schedule.
I
like that. I can respect it.
Yeah. I might move to a different country tomorrow. Who knows? I'm playing it by ear.
He's a wild man.
Never been better. Never been worse.
502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line. All right, a couple questions for you, Jacob Polachek.
Fire away.
Do we see Jalen Lowe in a Kentucky jersey next year?
Who?
We won't hold you to it. It's a long ways away.
I lean towards no.
All right, take it to the bank. We're holding him to it. He says no. Definitive answer, no more Jalen Lowe in a Kentucky uniform. I also lean towards no. But it was an interesting interview that Jack had with Marlon, where it almost seemed like the Lows want to be back at Kentucky, which, why wouldn't you? It's UK, probably a big nil payday that goes with it, but I had to play the game of we're going to keep our options open.
Yeah, I think it was a smart move shutting it down with the medical redshirt possibility, and it's just like with how his season has gone, you almost feel bad for the guy. You want him to shut it down because it's just not right. Like, you can tell that it's not right, and I hope he gets surgery and fixes it from there, and I hope he is back in a Kentucky uniform. But right now, I lean towards thinking he won't be.
So you think Kentucky fans should want him back?
I think if he's fully healthy, yes.
Yes. Okay.
I still believe in what he can do. I think that we never really saw it this year because he injured himself in the blue-white game. That was the blue-white game that he got hurt.
Yes.
And so from there, it was just nagging him all season.
Yeah, I agree that I don't think he was ever at 100%, but you did see him make a little bit of an impact, even if it was 90 or 85 or wherever he was at. Did some good things when he was able to play. It just, if you really never know, just reaching over can tweak it again. It was not sustainable that he was going to be able to finish this year. And it may be better off for Kentucky just knowing, like, all right, he's off the table now. So all the other guards, we're going to have to figure some things out. It could be better for Kentucky in the long run, not having to do the will he, won't he game.
Yeah, I think it opens up some opportunities for guys like Jasper Johnson, of course. Denzel Aberdeen's going to get some more run at the point guard position, so we'll get to see what some of these guys are made of.
Yeah, and Jasper, this seems like a huge opportunity for him, but I totally agree. Could be great, could not be so great for UK. Do we see Jaden Quaintance in a Kentucky uniform again this season?
That's a tougher one.
Knee is swelling.
Yeah.
Played in the Alabama game.
I want
played in the Missouri game.
I want to say yes. I'm going to be an optimist and say
okay.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Optimist. I've been so pessimistic this whole season. It feels like that. I'll go the positive route for this one.
Well, it's kind of been easy to be pessimistic. No offense. I mean, right off the jump, you started the year injured for what it was worth, bad injury luck, and then the Georgetown exhibition loss wasn't all that great, and then didn't take long to have the losses start to pile up. So, is it wink, wink, nudge, nudge, really knee swelling? Or is this like I got to make a smart business decision? The YouTube streamers may be more privy to this answer here, but was this more of a, yeah, I mean, he was just on a number 6 on a mock draft. Who was it? Conley, I think, his mock draft, some SB Nations, I believe. So it wasn't just like some no-name out there.
Here's what I'll say is, Stephen, I think, wants to say something. But
No.
Okay.
I'm locked in.
I don't think that his draft stock is in a position to move a ton either way.
Sure.
I mean, I think
fair.
that he's pretty locked in as if not a top 10 guy. I think he is a top 10 guy, but if not, he's right there, 11, 12. He'll be in that range from 4 or 5 to 12. And I don't think him playing or him sitting out is going to make a huge difference. So I'm sure that maybe they are just being cautious because they know that it won't make a huge difference if he sits out, and if you further injure that knee, then that's what could make the difference. But yeah, I think my guess, purely off guess, is he could probably play through this, but maybe it's just not smart for him to risk re-injury or risk seeing his draft stock fall.
Yeah, and I agree with like the draft stock. It's not like he has been unbelievably incredible. He has shown some flashes of like, that dude, he's a stud. But it's been mostly like a player coming off a major surgery. You see something good, and then you may see something not as good. So it's not like his stock has been hurt from what we've already seen, which has just been, again, a mixed bag to a certain degree. So if he played more, I don't think there's something that could happen. I mean, unless he got hurt, of course. But he could get hurt training, working out, doing a million different things. But assuming he wasn't going to get hurt, he can't hurt his stock just from missing shots or being lost on defense. I mean, not substantially. I agree with you there. I do think that if he played and Kentucky's season could just turn around ever so slightly and say they made the Sweet 16 with Jaden Quaintance being the star 5 that people thought, I do think there is room to improve his stock. But when you're already 6 on a draft board, I do agree. Like, again, how much are you improving it? Or if you're slated at like 10 or 11, yeah, you can maybe move it up 4 or 5 picks, but there are some locked-in freshmen in this class that he is not jumping ahead of. That's just not going to happen.
I mean, like the top 3, the Darren Peterson, AJ, Cam Boozer, like I don't see a world in which any of those guys don't go top 3. And then you got like guys like Caleb Wilson, Koa Pete, who that's going to be tough to pass those guys. So I think like at his best, he's probably number 6, maybe number 5. And then at his worst, like I said, I don't see him falling too far out of the top 10 if he does.
So again, your point, astute, that he's probably kind of where he's at as a draft prospect for the most part, which I can understand their decision. Maybe just say, all right, if we really don't stand much to gain and the season really hasn't gone as well as we thought, and then I don't know. I would be frustrated if I said I'm 110%, I want to play, and then you're still not getting off the bench in games that you're dressed and playing. I think that maybe he wanted to play a little bit more. I think UK doesn't lose that Missouri game despite him not being all that great in that game. But defensively, they needed help. And it was some of the big guys who were making turnovers late in the game, and it wasn't Jaden Quaintance. Now, benefit of the doubt, we haven't seen him since he went out in that Missouri game with about 9 minutes to play or 10 minutes to play. Maybe his knee started swelling then, and that's why he couldn't get back in the game. So I at least have to mention that. But I wouldn't be shocked if they were just disappointed with how little they were playing. Draft stock's good, team's not. We'll just kind of take a step back again.
Yeah, I mean, it's the frustration is no secret. I mean, his dad tweeted a week ago.
Oh yeah, good point
about the team. So it's like this isn't any secret that there's frustration.
Sure.
His dad's letting people know publicly. So we don't have to dance around that there's frustration. But it's at the end of the day, all of this is a business decision, and you have to make the right decision for him.
As much as sometimes it's frustrating as a fan, Jacob is exactly right. And we've got Jacob Polachek from On3. Follow him on Twitter, Jacob Polachek, KSR, Polachek.
On3 Rivals now. On3 Rivals now.
Is that the handle?
Well, no, I'm saying that
you're right.
We got the merger now. We're fully integrated with Cats Illustrated as of yesterday.
Who's your favorite Cats Illustrated coworker in the short time you all have worked together? And who's your least?
It's got to be
favorite and least favorite.
It's a close race right now for both positions.
Oh, wow.
And I'll give you the two names that I'm considering. Justin Rowland and Jeff Drummond.
Sure.
Those are the two for best and worst. They're in a dead heat right now.
Wow.
So
go on and give me a best and a worst.
Yeah. So right now it's a dead tie. They're tied for the best and tied for the worst. But that could change very soon. So yeah, we'll find out when we first. This game will be our first time. We're gonna do our takeaways together in one story. And that'll be the real decider on who's my favorite Cats Illustrated coworker and who's my least favorite.
We'll have to tune back in next week to see the power. We can just do that a weekly segment, the Cats Illustrated coworker power rankings. All right, good stuff. I worked with both those guys. I'll keep my power rankings to myself, but they're both great dudes. I enjoyed working with them.
Don't keep them to yourself. We're going to publish these at the end of the show, right?
Jeff Drummond, he is at number 1 right now in the favorite old coworker from Cats Illustrated. And I love Justin Rowland, so it hurts to put him number 2, but. That's
okay, I'm going to put Justin 1 then because it's not fair to him if you're...
Admittedly, I haven't worked with either one in about 8 years.
Jeff Drummond is my least favorite coworker That's Illustrated as of now.
There you go. Is that because he's a big Steelers fan? You said you did not want to talk any Green Bay today. Me neither.
And he's gone.
Moving out. Hey, we didn't talk about any Green Bay. Mike Tomlin out in Pittsburgh, though. And Jeff Drummond did say that he thought it was probably time. He likes Mike Tomlin, but probably time.
19 years?
You know who else it was time for?
Oh, boy.
LaFleur.
Don't get me started. This is like the biggest NFL coaching carousel cycle. Every big name is available if you want them, and we're just going to stick with Matt LaFleur.
And
it kills me, Jacob.
That was the second worst loss of my entire life behind the Seahawks.
Wow.
The Seahawks that's one. That'll always be one.
Yeah, that one's going to be pretty tough to top.
But that was so bad.
I
know I...
Do you remember the Tom Coughlin NFC Championship loss?
That was
the cold game back in like 08?
That was like the first ever game I remember watching.
Yeah, that one was brutal. That one hurt high school TJ pretty badly. The Seahawks loss, you just had to try to lose that one. Giving the game away in the NFC Championship game that I bring up pretty much every day now at this point, and kicking that field goal with 2 minutes to go down 8, that was just inexcusably bad. But yeah, you just give the Bears a playoff win for no good reason. I know.
If it was any other team, this probably wouldn't be that high on my list of worst losses. But it's the Bears. You can't. And coming off the game they lost to the Bears early, hey, congratulations. You're a Bears fan? Oh, you're not.
No, he's a Dolphins fan.
Cubs fan. I get those mixed.
Yeah. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Another Chicago team.
Yeah,
right.
Different Chicago rival.
Yeah, it seems like Matt LaFleur going to stay in Green Bay. Not officially official. I'm holding out hope that they get in a spat.
Maybe they demote him to assistant coach and they bring in Harbaugh.
That'd be total. I'm not even the biggest Harbaugh guy, but I would just welcome him with Jordan Love.
Jordan Love is awesome. Can we just say that?
Yeah, we blew another great quarterback playoff performance for nothing. We blew another one, Jacob.
And I know every year. Love Willis. Willis is going to be gone after this year.
He's going to get paid by somebody.
I love Malik Willis. It's awesome having a backup quarterback that you can trust. But, yes, at some point you're not going to be able to keep him under wraps. I think his contract's up after this year anyways. So, Yeah, it's not the most fun to be talking NFL. Producer Matt's a Patriots fan, though. He's a happy camper.
Oh, congratulations!
They'll maybe do the dance again.
Yeah, I know you guys had a rough couple years, so you guys earned this.
Yeah, just a couple of years of being down. That must have been real rough.
Yeah,
everybody feels bad for the Patriots. You're right about that. Hey, Jacob.
Yep.
It's our turn to be the victim.
If you could eliminate one everyday minor annoyance, what would it be? It's a random question.
Oh, I gotta think about this one. Like the easy answer is just cold. It's so cold.
Well, you actually can take care of that.
Walking the dog in the cold.
Moving. There's places that aren't cold.
Good
I don't want you to
I'm going
move.
back to San Diego.
I don't want you to move, but yeah, San Diego.
That's just the first one that comes to mind, but I don't think I'm going to have to think on this one because I think there's definitely other ones that annoy me way more.
What about going to the bathroom? Just the general 2 minutes of having to waste your time to go to the bathroom. You don't have to worry about that.
That's just so.
So you have kids and you actually look forward to the bathroom. I would bathroom's great.
A minor annoyance. That's just something that we all need to do.
We all need to do it. It's kind of annoying sometimes. You're like, yeah.
Taxes. That's a minor
I don't know
annoyance.
if that's an everyday thing that you do, but yeah, that some people just
I do
decide
taxes
not to do 'em.
a lot. Yeah, every year almost.
And then is cereal a meal, a snack, or a dessert?
It's a meal. It's breakfast.
It's a meal.
Yeah.
So cereal can be a meal.
But it could also be a snack. It depends if you have it later.
Could be a dessert.
Yes, it
Could be a dessert.
Yes, I've
No,
made it as a dessert.
I think
before.
cereal, it all depends on when you eat it. If you eat it in the morning, it's a meal.
Yep.
You eat it in the afternoon, it's a snack.
That's really the only way to look at
this. You
this.
eat it after dinner, it's a dessert.
Who's eating dinner and is can't wait to get my dessert of a bowl of cereal?
Stephen Peak.
I just told you.
Me, I'm more likely to eat cereal post 9 p.m. than pre 9 a.m. Producer Matt, what do you think of that?
I mean, that's fine, but that doesn't make it a dessert. Are you eating dinner at 8:30 p.m.?
Am I eating dinner at 8:30 p.m.? No, usually around 6.
Okay, that's what I figured. That doesn't make it dessert. You don't have dessert 2 hours after dinner.
Says who?
Yeah, who's making these rules?
I am.
I think we figured out that it's probably just a snack based on the way everybody's saying it.
versatile.
It is pretty versatile, for sure. And then one other random question that was sent in to the show. Draft an SEC expansion team. Who needs to be in this conference? Why is it the Indiana Hoosiers?
Oh, that would be a good one. Kansas is my easy answer because that's my alma mater. I'm going to say I'll go BYU because I think that the
BYU
their program's on the rise, and I think that
would they fit in with the SEC Saturday on a
I think it'd be
tailgate?
hilarious.
It would be an interesting one. All right, you answered the question. I love it. Let's go to the actual public text line. That one was just private because they think that you give funny answers for stuff, and you delivered. I want Lowe as my backup point guard, says one texter on the Game Day Men's Health text line. He's too little, can't shoot, can't play defense, would be a good backup for us, though.
Probably just at that point, there's no way he comes back.
They basically just said he's bad. We want him as backup.
I mean,
I actually think he'd be a phenomenal backup.
He would, but he's not going to accept that role.
Yeah, that's the thing is somebody's going to pay him to be a starter.
Sure. If he was willing to come back for the right price where UK isn't having to pay him starting point guard money, then yes, in a perfect world, pie in the sky, that would be incredible. Give him more time to kind of get 110% healthy. 6 months for that shoulder. That's crazy to me. I mean, you're not talking about him doing pickup until realistically probably August. I mean, July.
But I like
best,
that because it gives him the full time, no
Really?
excuses
Yeah.
of just get it done, get it fixed, don't rush back. We've seen how many times he tried to rush back. Get surgery, get it done, spend 6 months if you need. I like that.
Well, it sounds like
Get
he
it
has to
healthy.
have it. Otherwise, there's a guarantee. There's no
obviously.
guarantee that it's going to be great. But that kind of worries me, a dude just not playing basketball for 6 or 7 months and then being like, all right, here you go. You're
Do you
going to be
bring
our
him
guy.
back? Jacob, does Kentucky bring Jalen Lowe back next year?
He hinted.
I know
he
players
hinted.
hint. I understand that, but
I think
when Poe's putting this
If
thing
you can
together,
get him for the right price, but
but he's got to be a backup role. I totally agree with
But
this
I don't
texter.
think
He's
that's-
not the
that's
starter
where
for a
it's tough.
national championship team.
I don't think you're getting him. I think somebody's going to offer him starter money, and he'll go to be a starter.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Unless you're paying him starter money, I don't think he comes back.
Seems like a good kid. I feel like I don't think he's the guy you win a national title with at the point guard position. We talked about it yesterday, TJ. I want a point guard that I mean, like, kind of resembles Lamont Butler, but if you can't get that, I would like to just get a point guard who can shoot, and let's don't have it with the caveat of, no, really, he can shoot, he just took bad shots last year. When he gets in my system, he'll make them all. Because he shot worse this year, and, yeah, could be the injury, obviously. That's something to think about. He shot 35 or something percent 2 years ago at Pittsburgh. So, like, if he shot 35% and was my point guard, I'd be okay with that, but I really want like a Brandon Knight. I mean, those don't just
like
pop
Brandon
up.
Garrison.
There was about this like decade and a half stretch where you didn't really worry about UK's point guard besides maybe a year or two.
Point guard you.
That was fun back then.
Yeah.
You had like John Wall or Brandon Knight or Marcus Teague, and then maybe throw in like a Ryan Harrow just for comic relief. But then you get like you get an Andrew Harrison thrown in there with like a Jamal Murray and a Tyler Ulis and a De'Aaron Fox, and then a little more comic relief. You throw in a Severe Wheeler and a Quade Green just as like a fun little two-man. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
right.
but then you end up not really playing him as much maybe as you probably should have. And then comic relief, you throw in a Devin Askew. Kaysen Wallace.
Maybe they get Devin Askew for next year, isn't he? He's still got eligibility.
He's got to have a couple more years left.
Well, that's really the last several years. Their point guard has been since COVID. You've had Devin Askew, Severe Wheeler, and then Kaysen Wallace took over for Severe Wheeler, and then
Rob Dillingham, DJ Wagner,
and Reed Shepherd. Yeah, and then. But yeah, you had the number one player and the number one recruit playing point guard, and then you had the number 5 pick in the NBA draft.
Number 3 pick.
Number 3 pick. Sorry. Yes.
We had it. We were living large, everybody.
But last year, Lamont Butler was. I continue to like praise what he did last year, even while injured. Lamont Butler was a great point guard for Kentucky.
Kirk Kriisa has another year.
Hey, he got hurt again.
Yeah, I saw that he was on the injury report, and Cincinnati's having a terrible season.
He has not played well with them. He has
a bunch of threes.
He's game in and game out. He's like, at least for Cincinnati, he's the dude who, if you just let him shoot and do whatever he wants, he could give you 25, but if you put almost any defense on him, he'll give you about 7.
That sounds about right. I was doing the math in my head, but yeah, that checks out. A texter says, hallelujah, Pope has finally stumbled upon what I think is a good lineup. He should let them play together a minimum 20-plus minutes, but he won't do that. He'll probably sub at the 4-minute mark, and we'll never see that lineup again. I'm anticipating frustration. We have a new starting lineup. Was that a Jack Pilgrim scoop last night on the new lineup?
It was.
Yes.
It was. I like it. Do you want to go through it real fast?
Yeah.
All right. Starting point guard, Denzel Aberdeen.
Oh,
at the 2, Otega Owe.
Paywalled content.
At the 3, Cam Williams. At the 4, Andrea Yelovich.
What?
And then at the 5, Malachi Moreno. I do think that's a pretty good starting 5. It's not a national championship starting 5, but it's one that can compete and like maybe compete for a top 4 spot in the SEC, getting a double bye in the SEC tournament. Jacob, do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you like that I'm sharing KS board content?
Yeah, I think that's
it's
horrible.
out. It's out by now.
It's terrible.
Well, Jack mentioned it on Sources Say, so that's a free show.
You're getting another credential revoked, buddy, for that one. Buddy.
I am revoking your KSR Plus subscription. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if by February you figure out the lineup you want to use. Yes, I think this is a good lineup. I just want to see some consistency. Figure out who your best players are, play them on the court at the same time, especially in crucial minutes. So, yeah, I like this lineup, and I want to see how it does tonight. I don't want to see too much mismatches. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I just don't want to see the lineup change too much because there's no consistency. It's hard to get going.
Well, the texter, unfortunately, is going to be proven right. What in the name of Rick Pitino lineup mind games is Mark Pope doing? Andre Yelovich just can't see the floor. Like, you can't even get him in the game against good quality competition, against bad competition. He has played, since the Bellarmine game, he has played 17 minutes. Since the Bellarmine game, which was in 2025, before Christmas 2025.
Yeah.
Since then, he has played 17 game minutes. And guess what?
It was all in one game.
All against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And then now he's a starter? Now he's good enough to crack the starting lineup.
Well,
because a guard is hurt? Like, again, I know Jake Hughes out as well.
I want to see some consistency, and this is Not exactly. But if moving forward we get consistency, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with this lineup if it continues to be consistent.
But we all know what's going to happen is Yelovich is going to get pulled 4 or 5 minutes into the game, and we may see him in the second half. We may not. I agree with the texter. Like, I hate that I'm taking a pessimistic angle on this because I think Kentucky does win tonight, and I think ultimately we're going to have some fun. I love that Cam Williams is going to get more minutes. I like that Yelovich is starting. I like this lineup. I just have no confidence that we're going to see it because it has been bizarre. A dude who hasn't been able to get on the floor, all of a sudden now he's the starter.
Yeah, no, that is strange. I think there must have been something going on in practice that Mark Pope didn't like out of Andrea because if you go before the Bellarmine game, do you have it pulled up still, TJ?
I do.
So when did he play? How many minutes did he play since like the Michigan State game or Gonzaga game? I feel like after that game, his minutes really got reduced.
After the Gonzaga game, he's only appeared in 3 games since the Gonzaga game. One was North Carolina Central, and he played 15 minutes. He played 7 against Bellarmine, and then didn't see the floor again until the Mississippi State
So how many
game.
games was that he didn't play in?
Well, that's a good question.
Oh, you got his game log.
Yeah, I've got the game log.
Okay,
but
so several games, no minutes, and it wasn't. So NC Central. And I forget they played.
It means no IU.
St. John's.
St. John's.
Couldn't play in those games. He's a starter just a couple weeks later. Yeah, that is strange. But I think he's a good ball player, man. I think I thought he played great against North Carolina. His 3-point shot has not been falling, so I thought it was good that we saw one fall against Mississippi State. Excuse me. And let's just see. I think he's a good basketball player. I really think he can help this team. I like him in the starting lineup. I do agree he's probably going to get pulled 4 or 5 minutes in. You'll probably go 2 bigs when you think Jacob go. Brandon Garrison comes in, plays the 4.
Something's up. Doesn't pass the smell test.
What do you think's up?
I'm not thinking I don't doubt that Yelovich was in the doghouse because Pope basically said as much back in like November, and then when people were at open practices, he was running steps and stairs. So I'm guessing there was some like cultural. In America, we do it this way, buddy, all right? So get it together. Try your hardest. But I'll say this. Maybe Yelovich has gotten his bleep together. I wonder if somebody else on the team has their bleep fallen apart. I wonder if somebody else did something to not get the start. Because how do you play in the Gonzaga game, and that's a terrible game for all involved, and he looked a little out of place in that game, but who didn't look out of place in that game? You have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Power 5 opponents since that game. He has shown up in 1 of the games, and then on the 6th one, he gets to start? That's weird. That's not normal. So I don't know if it's a Yelovich thing. I think it's a somebody else thing. I don't know. I don't want to put it out there in the ether, but I wonder if somebody else had a goof, and now they're not starting.
Who would that be?
Mo Diabate only played 10 minutes. Mo played 10 minutes in that game.
I think he did. I think Mo might have messed up something.
Well, I don't think it's also a coincidence that UK has this offensive explosion, nearly puts up a 50-burger in the second half against Mississippi State, and in that game, Mo Diabate played 10 minutes, 13 minutes? I don't know how many minutes.
How many did he play in the second half?
I mean, the first half looked so bad. In the second half, it just flipped a switch.
It was night and day.
Yeah.
I also, weirdly, and I don't think Denzel Aberdeen and Mo Diabate can be on the floor together. They just do not play well together. The offense just looks stuck in the mud when they're in together. I like Mo, and I've said as much. On a different team and a different last year's team, he would have been a very, very welcome piece. But he's got to be around shooters, and it's almost to the point where it's just like roll the dice defensively by being better offensively by having him out.
Not to beat a dead horse, but yes, Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quains are out, but those guys have been out for a lot of this season.
Sure.
To not have a consistent lineup, to not have any real idea of what lineups work on January 14th it's tough. It's disheartening.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked. Mo Diabate played 9 minutes in the second half. He only played 4 in the first.
That is surprising to me as well.
Is that right? No. My bad. I haven't messed up. Yeah. I haven't.
I was gonna say that was news. That would be news to me. But also, I thought Jasper Johnson played more than 10 minutes in that game because when he was out there, he was doing good things. So when I went and looked at the box score, only 10 minutes. I thought he was out there much longer.
It looks like he did basically 5 and 5. He played 4:46 in the second half. But yes, Mo Diabate only played 4 minutes in the second half, and Andrea Yelovich played over 11 minutes.
Here will be the answer.
How many minutes did Lowe play before he got hurt?
3.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah, he went out at the 17-minute mark.
Yeah.
And then he was done. Here, sadly, is probably our answer. Did we get a Mo motivational Monday this week? Did we get Mo motivation?
I did.
What was Monday? The 12th?
Yes,
All right, I'm
yes.
looking at UK's 12th, seeing what. I don't see any Mo motivation.
Does he do one every week?
Most weeks. No Mo motivation this week. Most weeks.
No,
and now he's not starting. I wonder if there's something a little there. I don't know.
Well, we were at the media thing last week. It was last. Help me out, Jacob. Oh, you weren't there.
I wasn't.
Last Tuesday, Jacob was busy fielding 45,000 phone calls. And but we were. When I was there, I was actually shooting the interview with Mo Diabate, and he was pretty critical of the scout. Now, some people said well, he was critical of the way his teammates and himself. I think he did say, and me too. Didn't take the scout serious, but he also, he hyped up Nate Oates, and he was critical of Kentucky's scout. I felt like he brought up specific things that Alabama was going to do that Kentucky wasn't prepared for. So whether he's saying the players weren't paying attention to the scout or the scout should have been better, it's either one of those is a critique of the coaches, right?
Well, wouldn't you think that the guy who came from Alabama would have something to say? Be like, hey guys, this is what's going to happen.
I'm sure he did. But to do that, and he did it publicly. It was kind of a story.
It was kind of bizarre.
You thought so too, Jacob?
Yeah. I mean, I had a bunch of people text me right after that interview came out, and it's like,
really?
That was weird. That was
what kind of people? Can you say?
Just people that also cover basketball that are
All
following this stuff. Yeah, and that this was something I think a lot of people saw, and a lot of people were just kind of I don't want to say confused, but it was odd.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's odd is the way to put it.
Well, interesting enough. Now a new starting lineup, and I like it. I'm a fan of it. You just gotta, I think, roll the dice with offense. Defense has been playing better, but you need to have some offensive pieces out there. I love what Otega Owe has been doing. I think he's been getting going on the defensive end, and that's led to his offensive explosion. Stephen Peak, you had a tweet that
I did.
Made me realize something.
Okay.
Made me realize something, and I'm definitive about it.
Oh, yes. I love this.
It's been a popular topic the last month. And
Are you teasing this?
Yes, I am.
I love it. That's good radio.
It's been a popular topic the last month or two. You tweeted it, and I read it, and I was like, holy smokes, I know what this means. I'll tell you what that is in the final segment of Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Jacob Polachek, Stephen Peak, producer Matt Childers, TJ Walker. Back after this.
Dillingham penetrates. what a finish!
I mean, I wish people could see that. I can't see it right now, but I can see it in my head.
It really was probably one of the more fun 2-minute stretches, and Kentucky lost, unfortunately. But
And
that
they
was
were
incredible,
cruising that game.
that comeback.
If I remember correctly, Kentucky was I'll get the stats put up here, but I'm pretty sure that they were up. They were up 9 at halftime, 36-27. I was almost disinterested in it because it was so boring. Nobody was playing well, and then LSU scores 48 second-half points to get the win.
That team, more so than most Calipari teams, it would play with its food and wasn't fun. But when they were locked in, they were probably as fun to watch on the offensive side of the ball as any UK team, maybe in my life, or at least post-Patino, because I was too young to really enjoy and appreciate Patino. Welcome back. One final segment, Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, we are on YouTube. You can comment over there, or you can text into the Gameday Men's Health text line. That's what we prefer. Gameday Men's Health, the redefining men's wellness, no shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Defining a new era in men's health. Will get tanked for just 9 of 53 games, which is just 17% of the time. The trend continues. By the end of the season, it'll be just 13% of the time. And that's already locked in because we know now Jalen Lowe is out, so that's not going to have your roster at full strength. 13% of the time. I read that, and I said, well, Mark Pope's back for a third year regardless. Regardless of how this season ends. He can lose every game. And this here Stephen Peake tweet will be Mitch Barnhart's reason enough to bring him back regardless of how bad things go. And maybe that's totally fair. In my dumb, impatient brain, I don't want him to be locked in for next year. I want him to have, 15 more games, 20 more games, however many more games they can.
Oh, if we get 20 more games, we did something right.
Sure. But I want him to have the rest of this season as a sample size to see if he deserves to come back for another year. That being said, we all need to get that thinking out of our heads, me more than anybody else. Mark Pope is back for 26-27 because Jalen Lowe is out for the year, because Jaden Quaintance has more knee swelling that was unexpected, because he's going to finish his first 2 years with having his team at full strength just 13% of the time. That alone, I don't care if they didn't go to a Sweet 16 last year. Last year was considered a successful season for a first-year head coach replacing a Hall of Famer. This year has not been successful. But regardless of how bad things get this year, he will be back because of that stat. I guarantee it. They could lose out. He will be back because of that stat.
Yeah, and it's been a theme. Kentucky since the 2021 season is what I have here. They've actually been at full strength. By the way, full strength means in this context is guys who average over 10 minutes per game. Now, I don't really know if JQ fits there yet, but he's another guy that he would play over 10 minutes a game if he was healthy. But 17% of the time since 2021 or 2020-21, Kentucky has been at full strength. So John Calipari was a victim of this also in his last few years. And it's so crazy, TJ, because when you look at Calipari's first 3 years at Kentucky, he only had 3 players get hurt. That's crazy. And now what? I mean, we get 3 injuries every year. Yeah. We've doubled up. How many injuries have we already had this season? Trent Noah's had 2 somehow.
Diabate had
Mo Diabate. Denzel Aberdeen missed the Georgetown game due to something. That we're already at 4. Jalen 5. Was there anybody else? JQ was already hurt. Do we count this new swelling as an injury? Because that'd be 6.
Not? Helps the narrative.
I mean, that's double what Calipari had for 3 seasons. And if Marquise Teague goes down in the 2011-12 season, are you still searching for title number 8? I mean, maybe Cal figures it out in the other years. But in 2011, if Brandon Knight goes out, you don't go to the Final Four. Mm-mm. Now, the 2010 team, you had a lot of depth, but still.
It's time to burn that Reese Potter red shirt.
Yeah. Braden Hawthorne.
I like the world where AD gets hurt and it's the Eloy Vargas show in 2012. The Eloy Vargas-Terrence Jones front court that everybody would have absolutely loved to see. No, it's totally fair. It stinks. What is up with Trent Noah, by the way? He hasn't really played since the Bellarmine game.
He came in the Mississippi State game for about 12 seconds and immediately bumped knees with somebody, I think is what Mark Pope said. So he came out, and we'll see. He is still, he's only taken he hasn't played in a lot of these games now, but Kentucky's played, is it 8 high major games or 9? Is it 9 now? 9. I got to update this. They played 9 high major games. He has shot 6 threes.
That's weird.
He's 1 for 6.
That's weird.
It is weird because there are games when like the Alabama game and the Louisville game where I could understand why he wouldn't play. That it's going up and down the court. Maybe it's not the best fit for him. But there have been games, Mississippi State, Missouri, where the style of play wasn't really that. He could play. Man, was he better last season?
Statistically, no.
Well,
but from
why was he able to find the floor?
No, I agree with that. But he's shooting better this year than he was last year is the only reason I say statistically no. But it did seem like he had more of an impact when he was in last year. And it does seem like games that are going to be higher scoring, a little bit more up and down, would be a good game for him where, all right, yeah, you may get lost defensively, but guess what? Blink and catch and shoot a 3 on the other end and be ready to go would be beneficial to what he brings to the table. You're not seeing him at all, which makes me think maybe there was a more serious injury and then they tried to get him out there for the Mississippi State game. He bangs knees with somebody checking in or as he checks in and instantly has to come out. That's weird, that.
Unfortunate. The injury stuff is just
it's through the roof.
Is there an electromagnetic field near Rupp Arena, near the Joe Kraft Center?
Like the way you're thinking, we really need to look into that.
Maybe y'all need to look at some Etsy witches.
Yes.
Did you all see that?
You talking about San Francisco and what was the Etsy witch?
That was it
UConn,
Seton Hall
a UConn fan hired an Etsy witch to break their curse at the Prudential Center.
Oh.
So she did some sort of what was it, pierce the gray frog or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
But there's these witches on Etsy that you can reach out to that will do magic spells for your special cause or something like that. And of course you pay them and it's a grift and they're just making money. But UConn did win at the Prudential Center yesterday.
If this isn't a Stephen Peak job, I don't know what is.
I see a new KSR video feature. I hired an Etsy witch to break UK's injury curse.
I talked to a Deacon friend of mine about going and doing some type of, blessing at Rupp Arena. Just cover all our bases.
Especially after the Annabelle doll incident?
Yeah, and that's, that wasn't maybe the best decision, but we've already been cursed before it. Unless the curse exists on, outside of time, right? So it just doesn't matter when you brought the Annabelle doll in. The fact that you were going to bring the Annabelle doll in was a curse enough.
So you're saying there's a curse multiverse? There's a curse multiverse of Rupp Arena.
Yeah,
everything's already the story's already been written.
I'm just saying that I don't think there's any reason not to do it. And if it works, maybe you take a little NIL, put it on the side, keep yourself an on-team Etsy witch.
I will not be participating in witchcraft in any capacity. We do have some breaking news. Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, U.S. Cellular, and Xfinity all facing outages across the United States.
Whoa.
So if you're worried about your phone not working or something's been up with it, usually that is a coordinated attack when things like that happen.
That's kind of scary.
Unrelated, breaking, Germany's going to deploy soldiers to Greenland this week to defend Greenland from us. That's probably not good. I thought the old Denmark Navy was going to defend Greenland. Oh, look at that.
Is this working?
Denmark
there we go.
Navy.
It's working. All right.
Working on you all? Okay.
Yeah. That's a little strange, TJ.
My phone's been working fine all day for what it's worth. So maybe it hasn't impacted the bluegrass.
What's going on? We got Greenland, we got Iran, we got Venezuela. Is there anybody else we're trying? Where else do we go?
Did you say Iran?
I did say Iran.
Yeah, we're removing our soldiers from Middle Eastern bases because we have intelligence that Iran is going to attack us after we attack them. So
sometimes you got to work in preemptive self-defense.
South America, Middle East. Now we're going to Greenland. So happy for those no new conflicts. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line. South End Josh here. Producer Matt's arrogance over their transfer portal class is so on par with U of L fans when asked to give any type of critique of anything U of L does. Everything is always the best ever, and when asked to support their claim, all we get is, well, it is because it is. LOL, hysterical. I will say the On3 transfer portal rankings put my brain in a pretzel trying to figure out how
Jacob.
UK could be.
Sorry. You
really shouldn't take it. I don't know. We don't need to rehash the conversation from yesterday, but boy, was I confused looking that over. We're 24/7 family on this radio show. We always have been, always will be.
Excuse me.
A great transfer portal ranking. UK is number 2 there, right? I think number 2 or number 3. So we just we followed the money.
I did have a parent ask me once, do you run On3? I have a question about the rankings. I'm like,
did you say yes?
Yeah,
I run it. I run it all.
I run On3. I control all of the rankings. Where do you want your son ranked? I'll put him right there for you.
This was probably 10 or 11 years ago, and I remember it was like Christmas break. I was part-time at Cats Illustrated, and I was like, all right, I've got Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I need to just get a bunch of stories out. And I did ranking the top 15 or 10 players in Kentucky high school basketball for that biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. I put like a decent amount of thought into it, but not nearly as much as I probably should have. And I had never gotten more emails from parents. You have my son number 7. He should be number 6. It was actually like a decent way to network and get to get people's numbers.
Doesn't
and whatnot.
sound like the networking I want.
However, people were so ticked off. But that was a ginormous mistake. Not a good decision on my part. Producer Matt, do you want to respond to South End Josh?
The only part of it I'll respond to is he used the word ignorant, and that means that I don't know what I'm talking about. I consistently brought you to all of these different rankings through different websites, and besides, which one was it, 24/7, that actually had them like backwards? All the other ones, Louisville had a better class.
But the other ones take into consideration who is that's not specifically the class, though.
What do you mean it's not specifically the class?
And the other ones keep track of who's leaving also.
Yes, the ones that you are going off of aren't just ranking the transfer portal class. You understand that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But the point I'm making is don't the exits mean just as much as the
Here's the thing,
entrances?
guys. They're going to play each other. We're going to find out who's better. But we have to wait all the way until November
I
for some reason.
was told that U of L got credit for Isaac Brown entering the transfer portal and coming back to Louisville.
No way.
That
wouldn't even make any sense.
I agree that wouldn't make any sense.
No.
But I'm told that was taken into the rankings.
Jacob,
in which
did you do that?
By the way, UK is 6 on 24/7 for what it's worth. They are number 6.
Oh, we fell to 6?
U of L is number 12. And I will say, Producer Matt, for you to say yesterday that you think Louisville's transfer portal class is night and day better than Kentucky when UK has 4 of the top 5 offensive linemen transfer portal commits, that's kind of a crazy thing.
I get that, but, I mean, where's their top player anywhere else in the field besides the offensive line?
Well, they have, C.J. Baxter was the number 1.
Okay, he hasn't played in 2 years.
Well, he played last year, so
he
that's
played, like 30 snaps?
You tell me. Was it 30 snaps? I think it was maybe a little bit more than that. But regardless, he was a number 1 recruit at some point. They have a quarterback that other Power 5s wanted and he was committed to that have a bunch of money. So it's not just the offensive line.
That's 2 people. Louisville is going to have probably the best edge rushing room in the ACC, has a really competitive D-line with the rest of the ACC, the rest of the country itself. They
Elijah Barnes, the linebacker from Texas. He's pretty good, 4-star.
They brought back multiple linebackers this season who, Stanquan Clark and
not transfer portal, so that's a different conversation.
That's true. But at the same time, if I'm looking at both rosters,
Tavion Wallace from Arkansas coming in at linebacker, pretty good linebacker core, so you're pretty good at linebacker, pretty good at offensive line. I like UK in the secondary, but I think it's a little more subjective at that. But okay, my point was I just don't think it's fair for you to say Louisville's night and day ahead. They're really not ahead at all, but to say night and day is a bit silly.
I think they are. We can have different opinions. It's fine.
Nope, we certainly can't. And until you come around, no more, your credential's been revoked. Okay? So I don't make the rules here, buddy. A couple other texts on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Silas, Demery, Donovan Dent, and Deedon Thomas were all prioritized over Jalen Lowe. I love Jalen to death. Nothing but respect for him, putting it all out, patching it up.
We have breaking news.
We have some. Okay. I want to get to this before the show ends.
Okay.
Louisville's AD, or not Louisville, LSU's AD just put out a statement that Matt McMahon is likely fired if he doesn't make the tournament. He put that out
Why would you do that?
In case anyone doesn't know, Kentucky plays LSU tonight.
Wait, what?
So
Yeah. Can you read the quote, Jacob?
quote, if he doesn't make it, in parentheses, the NCAA tournament, we'll have to reevaluate.
Well, good. I mean, good for LSU.
I mean, really though. I mean,
Seriously, I'm all for that. And this day,
Game day?
you don't have to make it public though. You can have that conversation internally.
You've got fans. You've got
Barely.
Nil.
Why?
I know.
Why
I will
do it
say.
now? Wait till the game starts. Maybe do it with 10 minutes into the game.
Win one for the Gipper. Your coach's ass is on the line.
Okay, now I feel very good about my LSU prediction today. You don't lose after the AD.
I hate this as a Kentucky fan.
I
For
know.
what it's worth. Like,
LSU's
I
not losing
cannot
after that.
stand this. That the AD didn't he do something with like the legislator and be like, oh yeah, you know, we'll get whoever we want. This AD is wilding out.
Do you want Mitch Barnhart to do that with Mark Pope? Like, if Mark Pope doesn't make the tournament this year,
Pope, if you lose tonight,
that's actually what Mitch Barnhart needs to do right now. He needs to come back and be like, oh yeah, well, same Mark Pope. Same. We'll have to reevaluate.
I mean, there's so much season left, though, just to say it this early. I feel like
game day. That's insane.
And on game day, yeah, you kind of just put so much pressure on him, but also you've like encouraged the fans to go after him if he does lose, because now I don't know, like the pressure is you're gonna get fan pressure in January to fire their coach who's. I mean, LSU. Like, what?
I genuinely don't have an issue with it, just because if I was an LSU basketball fan, which you're right, there's not many of, I would be like, all right, this season's been miserable, but at least I know, we're going to get a new guy. And that's just the name of the game. It's the nil era, transfer portal. You can get anybody anytime. You can build a new roster just like that. So if you don't like what's going on, hell, look at Kentucky football. We're the biggest and best example. It was going to be, what did Joe Biden call it, a winter of death and destruction? It was going to be an offseason of death and destruction with Mark Stoops. Instead, we're having fun. Like, we're absolutely loving life right now. That's the beauty of firing a coach.
But we got to this without Mitch Barnhart saying, we're going to fire you, Mark.
He was saying the opposite. And the 3 times a year that he'd talk, he'd say, he's got all my support.
And then at the end of the season, he fired him because you wait until the end of the season to do stuff like this.
So what you're saying is at the end of the season, LSU is going to give McMahon a lifetime extension.
There you go. Kirby says, oh boy, producer Matt wobbling, starting to fall back to roster 10 seconds into the debate. Knock him out, Terry. Producer Matt, we just disagree on the transfer portal rankings. He's a Cards fan. I'm a Cats guy. I like Kentucky to win a very close one tonight. That news doesn't make me feel more confident about my prediction, but I'll take UK 77-75.
74-71.
Wait, are we going back to the Middle East conversation?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Thank you, Jacob Polachek, for hanging out. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Stephen Peak, producer Matt Childers, CJ Walker. We'll see you on Thursday.